eyes to Western nations would suddenly choose to purchase Russia's Su-57 fighter jet, despite the risk and controversy surrounding it. What's behind this bold decision, especially when Algeria has historically been cautious with its arms deals? In the international arms market, Russia's Su-57 fighter jet has struggled to find buyers for years, in sharp contrast to the sales success of the Su-30, Su-35, and MiG-29. This phenomenon has been seen as an inevitable result of the decline of Russia's aviation industry. However, this situation has now changed. On February 12th, Algeria's state television announced that the country had become the first export customer for the Su-57. The report revealed that Algerian pilots are currently undergoing training in Russia, with deliveries of the fighter jets scheduled to begin later in 2025. Just 2 days prior to the report, Alexander Mikheyev, president of Russia's defense export company, also confirmed that the first foreign customer would receive and start using the Su-57 fighter jets before the end of 2025. Since 2020, Algeria has been regarded as a primary potential customer for the Su-57. There have been strong indications of this, such as Algerian military officials being seen with Su-57 models during meetings with visiting Russian officials, and Su-57 decals being installed at the Algerian Ministry of Defense. So far, very few details have been revealed about the deal. What is known is that Algerian pilots have been undergoing training in Russia for some time. The first batch of jets is said to consist of only 6 units. Some reports also suggest that Algeria has ordered a total of 14 Su-57 fighter jets, intended to replace the MiG-25 interceptors, which were retired in 2022 after serving since 1978 as an elite force. It is expected that by the 2030s, Algeria will order more Su-57 to replace its aging MiG-29 medium fighters, Su-24 bombers, and even the current fleet of Su-30 Mka heavy fighters. Russia plans to produce over 20 Su-57 in 2025, with 6 going to Algeria, and the rest being delivered to the Russian Air Force. Despite this, from all angles, it seems like a rather odd arms deal. Firstly, although Algeria is rich in oil and gas resources and is referred to as a small, wealthy country in North Africa, its national power is not very strong. Purchasing the expensive and performance-unstable Su-57 is quite a risky decision. In fact, Algeria has historically tested its main combat aircraft in other countries before making a purchase to ensure their performance. For example, Algeria bought the Su-30 Mka and MiG-29M after verifying their performance in other countries, like when Algeria tested the Su-30 Mka in India before deciding to buy it. Furthermore, the Russia-Ukraine war has led to a drastic decline in relations between Russia and Western countries, with the latter imposing harsh sanctions, and most countries trying to avoid any dealings with Russia. Algeria's major trading partners are Western countries, with France leading the way, accounting for a quarter of Algeria's total foreign trade, and purchasing a large amount of oil and gas. Spain, Italy, and the US are ranked second, third, and fifth respectively. In this context, Algeria's decision to purchase the Su-57 and become its first overseas customer will surely anger Western countries. For a fighter jet with uncertain combat capabilities, paying such a high price is indeed puzzling. While stealth fighters are becoming more common worldwide, they are still mainly provided by the US to its core allies and have not yet spread to North Africa. For example, Saudi Arabia still relies on the F-15 as its main fighter jet, and the UAE has received the Rafale. In this situation, Algeria doesn't seem to have an urgent need for a stealth fighter. Compared to true oil-rich Gulf countries, Algeria's oil and gas export revenue is not enough to warrant the need for a stealth fighter for self-defense. Even if Algeria has specific intentions, they should have waited until the Russia-Ukraine war is over and international tensions ease. Why press forward with the purchase of stealth fighters despite the pressure from the West? Could they really believe that the West won't do anything about it? A few years ago, Turkey's decision to purchase the Russian S-400 air defense system, abandoning the US-made Patriot missiles, led to a significant setback in its defense development. As a result, Turkey was denied the purchase of F-35 fighter jets and it also lost access to European and American engines used in the T-129 attack helicopter and the KN fighter jets. Even today, Turkey has not fully recovered from these consequences. Turkey's example has made other countries rethink their weapons purchase decisions. For instance, Egypt was on the verge of acquiring the Su-35SE, but eventually backed out. Malaysia initially showed interest in the Su-35, but after seeing Turkey's situation, it too hesitated. Now, Algeria has directly announced its plans to acquire the more advanced Su-57, which will undoubtedly lead to numerous challenges. Speaking of the Su-35, Iran did indeed purchase the aircraft, but they have kept this very confidential, and there have only been sporadic signs of evidence. Algeria's public announcement about purchasing the Su-57 seems quite unusual, suggesting there might be other plans behind it. First, let's take a look at the current state of the Algerian Air Force. This is not an insignificant military force. It's one of the top air forces in North Africa. Currently, the Algerian Air Force exclusively uses Russian-made aircraft. This could be one of the reasons they are considering purchasing the Su-57. Algeria has been a loyal customer of Russian weapons since the 1990s, and they own 165 Russian-made aircraft, including the Su-30 MKA and MiG-29. These aircraft are relatively young in terms of age. If Algeria needs an aircraft that can enhance its overall air combat capabilities while integrating smoothly into its existing fleet of fighter jets, and the Su-57 fits this need perfectly. At the same time, Russia might offer substantial discounts on the Su-57. According to Russian sources, the export price for the Su-57 may not exceed $100 million, which is cheaper than other fourth-generation aircraft like the F-16V or F-15EX, not to mention the F-35 or Rafale. For Algeria's neighboring African countries, the possibility of acquiring a stealth fighter jet is extremely unlikely, making this event set to have a profound impact on the military balance in North Africa. As Algeria moves its older MiG-29 jets to Sudan, it clears space for the Su-57's acquisition and deployment. This has prompted concerns in neighboring countries like Morocco and Tunisia, which now fear a potential regional arms race. While the Su-57 has often been criticized for its poor stealth capabilities, the fact remains that it is a fifth-generation jet, and its presence would completely overshadow Morocco's fourth-generation jets. Therefore, introducing the Su-57 would allow Algeria to establish air superiority. For Russia, its ongoing efforts to become a dominant power in Africa, whether through the Wagner Group mercenaries or arms exports to countries like Algeria, are part of a broader geopolitical strategy. If the Su-57 can successfully make its first export sale,